and instead of the square, write the same thing again, so you know what the square means. And now you have two things you need to multiply together. You have the first thing and the second thing. Everything times everything. Don't memorize it as FOIL, because that doesn't apply to anything other than 2 times 2 terms times 2 terms. It's everything times everything. So the way the book shows it, and the way I recommend you do it, is think of this as one thing right here, and think of this as one thing. So what's 5x plus 1 times 5x plus 1? Don't multiply it out. Just tell me what 5x plus 1 times 5x plus 1 means. Correct. So just write it as 5x plus 1 squared first. And then what's this times that? Don't multiply anything out first. What's that going to be? 6y times what? 5x plus 1 plus, and then what's next? 6y times 5x plus 1. And then what's 6y times 6y? 6y squared. The number one problem that I see done over and over again is people try to do too many steps at once. The number one problem I see over and over and over and over again is people try to do too many things at once. They recognize 10 easy steps, they try to do 10 easy steps at once, and what happens to 1 or 2 of those steps? It goes wrong, and the whole thing falls apart. Do it step by step. So now what do you need to do to this? Now what do you do? Distribute. So this one's going to be 5x plus 1 times 5x plus 1. We can write that out as such. And then you end up with 30 what on this? 30xy plus 6y plus 30xy plus 6y plus what? Yeah, 36y. Just do it out squared. That's fine. So you end up with 25x squared plus 5x plus 5x plus 1. Are there terms here that we can combine? Yeah. Yes. 30xy and 30xy is what? 60xy. What is 6y and 6y equal to? 12y plus 36y squared. And then there's a couple terms we can combine. Which 2 terms can we combine? Yeah, so you end up with 25x squared plus 10x plus 1 plus 60xy plus 12y plus 36y squared. Are there any like terms there? Are any terms that have the same variable part raised to the same power? Nope. And then you're done. That's fine. There it is. X squared plus 2x plus 4. They just want you to multiply that out. That's it. So just that 1/2 is along for the ride, so you multiply everything else, I get 1/2 times 2x cubed plus 4x squared plus 8x. And what's next? The 3 times everything? What's the 3 times everything going to be? 3x squared plus 6x plus 12. And are there things you can combine? Yeah, sure. You have 1/2 2x cubed, but are there multiple squares? There's 4 of them and 3 of them, so that's 7x squared. Then you get, what's that? 14x, and then plus 12. And now are you done? Not really. Need to multiply that 1/2 in. So what's that going to be? X cubed plus 7 over 2 x squared plus 7x plus 6. So that would be the final answer right there. They want you to multiply it out. Take a look. Like that you multiply everything by everything? Yes, this times this, then that times that. Yeah, okay. You don't what? And then do you multiply 2.1 by? Yeah, then 2.1 times everything. Correct. It's everything times everything. Correct. Yeah, so it's going to be 0.1y times 0.5y to begin with, and then 0.1y times negative 0.4. Then what are you going to add to it? 2.1 times what, Katie? Correct. Plus 2.1 times negative 0.4. And then you just need to multiply them out. That's it. That's it. Cube mean, Rachel? What does squaring mean? Multiplied by itself. So what about cube multiplied by itself 3 times? Yep. So z minus 3 times z minus 3 times z minus 3. So how do you go about doing this? Do you try to do it all at once? No. What do you do?
I did the first 2.
Yeah, just do the first 2. Exactly. So what are the first 2 going to be? Z squared minus 3z minus 3z plus 9. That's the first 2 right there. And what does that get multiplied by? Z minus 3. It's everything times everything. Now can we simplify this at all right here? Absolutely. What is that going to be? Z squared minus 6z plus 9 times z minus 3. Now you can't say FOIL because there's a middle term now. It's not just first and it's not first and outer. It's everything in the first times everything in the second. So you take z squared and you multiply it by both of these terms. What do you get, Rachel? Z to the minus 3. Yep, and then you do this one right here times both of them. What do you end up with? Negative 6z squared plus 18z. And then you do the 9 right here. You do the 9 plus 9z minus 27. Now you're theoretically done if you weren't simplifying, but can you combine some things there? Yeah, you have these two. What does that combine to? Negative 9z squared, and then what's this? 27z minus 27. And then you'd be done. Just do it piece by piece. Really, really just do it. 34. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is rewrite that into scientific notation. So that's going to be 9.0 times 10 to the what? Negative 4 times 1.2 times what? 10 to the what? 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All over 4 times 10 to the 5th. Exactly. So then you have 9 times 1.2 times, I'm just reordering. I'm not doing anything yet except for reordering, over 4 times 10 to the 5th. So what do you end up with? You end up with 9 times 1.2 over 4 times, what's on top here? 10 to the what power? What is that? 10 to the negative 4 times 10 to the 7 is 10 to the 3rd. You add negative 4 and 7, so you get 10 to the 3rd over 10 to the 5th. What do you do with power? What do you do with the 3 and the 5 if you're dividing? Subtract, so you end up with 9 times 1.2 over 4 times 10 to the negative 2. We're not quite done yet because this right here needs to be simplified. That needs to be simplified, so you do that out. You do 9 times 1.2, 1, 8, what is it going to be, 10.8? 10.8 over 4 times 10 to the negative 2. And then you have to do 4 into 10.8. That's going to be 2, 8, 2, 8, and it's 2.6? 2.7, thank you. So what do you end up with? 2.7 times 10 to the negative 2. Done. Get out of here.